I thought I'd get on here. I wanted to give a shout out to two Lee's in the pod, specifically to Lisa. I went over her show from last night. I went over it this morning, and I thought it was quite a quite a eye opener. She had a guest on there, as you all know if you've watched it already, Leslie, and she kind of explained what had happened to her in the last few months. Uh, as most of you know, she had tried to get dismissed from all the drama going around our favorite person there in Otter Creek. And of course, I'm exaggerating the popular person. uh, anyway, and I know it's no laughing matter, but it brings to light what happens when people get harassed and they try to get away from the people, the bullies that chase them around, and it doesn't happen sometimes, especially on YouTube, because people that hide behind a keyboard aren't having to face that person in person, back and forth that way. And even though you might be able to see each other on the screen, you're untouchable. I can't reach out there and touch you any more than I can touch my screen and touch myself here, right? I have to get back here where I'm doing it in person. It makes people brave. It makes them say things that they shouldn't say sometimes. It makes them make threats. And those of us that are in this lawsuit have received plenty of threats over the past year. And even though I've chose to quiet down a little bit, doesn't mean I've changed my mind about this person that wants to sue the hell out of me. Do I appreciate it that they're trying to rub my nose in the dirt and call me names when I'm not around, or when I got my back turned, or when I was so occupied like I have been the last 3 months that I wasn't able to respond to anything out there? No, I didn't change my mind one iota. I still believe that in protecting the weak from the bullies, giving them protection wherever is needed, and try to help them out. It seems like no matter what I do, there's somebody on there trying to spin it and throw hate my way. Well, now I see what has happened to people that completely withdraw and get out of the limelight, and they were still chased, not by one person or two person or three person, by hundreds of thousands of people that happen to look for every little move this person makes. And who am I talking about? Well, let's go to Lisa's channel called Two Lees in a Pod. Last night she had a guest on there, and that guest explained to her what had, and everybody that was able to listen to it, what had happened to her in the past few months. She had withdrawn from a lawsuit that she was involved in, and immediately became sued by the same person that she was had filed against. And her reasoning for stopping the lawsuit wasn't that she didn't have the finances or the proof to go after him. It was strictly that she wanted no more to do with it at all. There's a lot of people involved in this thing for this harassment that's going on, and they wouldn't have uh, Lisa's or Leslie's name or address or any of that, or even her job description, if it wasn't for one person. And that person don't want to seem to leave it alone, and I don't know why. And a call was made to her employer and to her peers where she works. It wasn't a call to the peers. My understanding is it was an email. And as you all know, that poison pens cause a lot of problems out there, especially the accumulation of what was said and the identical wording. And then it gets us thinking, well, if it's that close to the wording identically, then one person has to be to blame for it. I have no problem of thinking who that might be. I'm not going to put it out there on here. Most of you that are around have a good idea of your own, and you're going to utilize it between yourself. What I would caution you on is don't put yourself in a situation where you could be sued by this person at this point. There's a lot of litigation going on, and a lot of it isn't so much to win, but by the words of this person, is to bankrupt you, take your money away from you, so that other people will be scared to even get involved in it. And I agree with the part that it works very well. A lot of people can't stand up because they don't have the what for to stand up. They can't. It takes a certain amount of money, and quite frankly, you have to be pretty brave. If you don't believe me, ask Bruce Maskin. He's been under the gun for about 2 years out there, him and his family. They know when he leaves the house, when his wife leaves the house, when his child is left at home. With this child, when it was left, she was left at 14 at home, not left, but when she was at back when she was 14. Okay, she was called out by another channel person that they were going to take a hit for her. They were going to do her the favor of asking her for some date or something like that. And I'm thinking, what? This person's over twice as old, closer to 3 times, and they're going to do somebody a favor by taking their child out. What is wrong with the people? What's up here? What is this? Sounds pretty childish, doesn't it? Well, it does in my eyes too. This part about chasing Leslie when she has made it very plain that she wants nothing to do with any of this. And the only reason she came and talked about it last night was she wanted to explain to you and I and anybody that was willing to listen why she had withdrawn, and why is she so happy doing what she is doing right now? Because it's not something she hasn't done before. She's a very great person at what she's doing, the career that she's chosen. And very seldom has she uh, let her issues bring her down. And she is ADA protected by law, federal laws, for an infliction that she was born with, not something that somebody did to her, but something that is part of her. And it's a very personal thing when you have a affliction that needs medication of some kind. And in this case, it has to do with her mental health. Nothing wrong with that. She's completely under control. Everything is going hunky dory. She's a very intelligent person, and she's very articulate. Like I say, she asked to be left alone more than once, and last night she asked the same thing. She's trying to operate without having a lot of hard feelings. It affects a person in person when that happens, and when you have people like that surrounding you for whatever happening, it rubs off on you to an extent because you want to fight back with everything that you've been hit with. And you can't blame people like that. It's hard to turn your other cheek. And there have been times where I've had to do that. And if you remember a little over a year ago, I had been contacted by somebody that came into my channel and said, Ray, you need to do a background check on those people you hold in such high esteem. And I did that. And what I found was information back there, and I still have it on a website that had reported on a guy that's out there that is attacking all these people. He seems to be the head of some kind of uh, get even type deal. But anyway, the information I had to do with the divorce and the things that surrounded that divorce. And the whoever had this site, this website that I got on, had copyrighted everything that was on there, and the warnings were on there. Do not. It was not for distribution. Uh, it, it was free for me to look at, but I couldn't make a copy on a copier or something like that and put it on here without permission of some kind. And it is a pay type investigative report, but it's real court documents. It really, it's real. Part of it was redacted, certain things on there, but not the people, not the addresses of the people. And I chose not to put this whole thing out there because you can find the same thing if you look up who you want to see and take it back to Ohio. Just type it in, say, I want to see the paperwork, and put the people that were involved that you'd like to see, and put the state of Ohio in there, and it'll come up, and you may get the same thing I looked at. Like I say, I looked at it over a year ago when I was told what to do as far as background research, and I come back with a different perspective, one that was forewarning of stay away if possible. But I'd already dipped my feet in the creek. And I had backed this person and found out that I was all wet and doing it. I'm not infallible. Sometimes I can be influenced with verbiage, just like all of you out there. And I was influenced without looking at facts. I heard the same thing over and over. It's a form of brainwashing, if you will. But what I found, or what the comment I had made was, I felt maybe the person had a split personality or something to that effect. I didn't really do an in-depth thing on it. I didn't submit the information that I had to see what is going wrong with this person. But then this person started getting accumulative channels around them, and they had kind of the same traits, except that I had explained it this way. I said it was like a big fish in a small pond. The big fish is out there eating all the little ones up. Their feed, right? That's what a big fish does. They eat. So the little ones, they just eat less. But the big fish also has what you call cleaners following it. And they feed on the scraps from the big fish in the pond. And the big fish will kind of leave them alone because, oh, what the heck? There's a lot of small fish out there that it can grab, and it's going to grab the easiest or the sickest first. And that's what's going on. That's what I'm telling you. The natural effect, it doesn't matter whether you're a person, a fish, or whatever you are, it's the natural evolution of the species. But then I said, there's a warning out there for all you guys that are feeding the scraps off from this big fish. The little ones disappear eventually because it's a small pond. The next ones in line are the ones that we're feeding off the big fish because they owe them, right? And they become gone. And the big fish, he's either got to find a bigger pond or he's got to sit there and die of natural starvation. And they're not going to do that. They're going to go to another pond if they can, if it's at all possible. So therefore, what I'm telling you is we have a situation similar to that. We have a big fish in a small pond, if you will, in my opinion, and with a parable of comparing it to this big fish in a small pond. You can effectively understand what's going on there. So what do? Well, one person says, this has happened, and it makes a circle. Okay, it goes all the way around. Almost identical verbiage. I'll give you an instance. The papers that were served on me for court were on the internet before I got paperwork. And mine were sent to me through the email. It wasn't through regular mail. I very seldom get something through regular mail. It's almost everything comes to through the email to me. So, or else it's I hear it on somebody's channel. If I want to get the news first or early on, I had to go one of these channels around the big boy there. Okay, and they would have it way before I did. There was some information that came out of the judge's chambers, and nobody knows for sure where it came from. But it had to do with things that were going to be coming out from the judge himself, that he had handed it off to somebody of a lesser position than his. Now, this channel creator put it on his channel what was happening, what's going to come up, and it did before anybody got any inkling, before any paper was sent out of that chambers. What he said happened. Now, I wonder how did that come about? So I did an investigation, if you want to call it that. I got on the internet and I said, I want to know. And so I checked out the judge, and he's pretty clean. I didn't find anything suspicious about him. The only thing I found about is he has a pretty big ego. And people that get along in a public service like that, they do usually have a big ego. They thrive on a certain amount of politics, but they thrive on their own self. And this guy has gotten a lot of accolades since high school, all the way around, even up to the judgeship. And I think what happened was he looked at this court case, and it's all it was just a neighbor dispute, very minor, a couple people involved, not millions, a couple people, and it got out of hand. Well, unfortunately, the clerk was handling all this, and he comes out and says he was pretty upset with the lawyers because he blames it on the lawyers. Well, holy mackerel! Who's in charge? The judge is. Okay. Anyway, I think he took his eyes momentarily off of what was happening, and I don't blame him because you have to trust people that are working for you. You can't do it all yourself. There's just too much out there. I don't blame him for that at all. But once he figured it out, and he put it in writing that he made a misstep, and his clerk was overworked, and the lawyers allowed that, and he was upset with him, and he wanted to meet with him in person in his courtroom so he could admonish him. One of them was threatened. Yes, his wife, himself, and his child, and they were doxxed. Where his wife works, what hours his child is at home, what he's doing, where he's at. So somebody was following him. We don't know who. He was advised to go to the police. He did. The police said, "No, we can't do anything about it. I mean, we don't. You don't. There's no proof. We get it. It's it's just an internet out there. There's thousands of people going through this, and actually, there's probably more than thousands because it is common what's going on. But this one grew, and it grew into a federal case. Now, am I upset that I'm involved in it? Well, I'm not real happy. I feel like I'm out there in Yaya land with a bunch of kids that are trying to catcall each other. Unfortunately, they've got the head principal of the school there that's cracking a whip, saying, "You did this, you did that." The judge in this case, so it makes you a little leery about appearing before this judge because this judge is already a little upset. You see, anything that happens out there with your cases, if you take your eye off the pie and it's on your record, especially if it's as minor as what this one started out to be, he allowed it to run wild. His clerk was overwhelmed, by his own words, overwhelmed with paperwork. And he controls the amount of paperwork that comes and goes. He can stop it at any time he wants, but he didn't. And then he got upset because people were calling him names. There's things out there that were submitted over a year ago that aren't answered yet. Then comes case number two. And guess who got blamed for that? Well, he did, because he told the plaintiff, "Well, if you want these people added to the case, just start another case." And he did. And I'm on that case number two. Wow. What advice is that for a judge to say, "Hey, just start another case"? And guess who's in charge of that case? Same judge. And now he's got two cases, and two of the people that are on those two cases are what it all started over. The bad neighbor. And I use that loosely. My opinion, I'm just calling it that because that's the common words that have been used. I consider them mental prisoners because of what went on and what's going on now. I would not recommend it for anybody to be in their shoes, nor would I ever wish it. Prisoners of war know what it's like to be like that, where you can't do anything. They can't leave their own property and feel safe, these people. Unfortunate, isn't it? Well, this brings me back to last night's show. Uh, this person, Leslie, has been chased, called names, made fun of continuously since the day she appeared the first time on Two Leaves and Pod. Now, she was warned ahead of time what could happen. And not only could it, it was a lot worse than what anybody had even dreamed of. They beat on this woman because of her uh, somewhat what I would call frailties. This group looks for a weak spot and attacks it immediately. And it wouldn't be so bad, except that it turns in, it's not a few 100,000. By the time it makes it all the way around, we're talking over probably, I would say, 1.5 million people. If you were to talk all the subjects are involved. Now, how many actually seen it? I would say uh, that look at it on a regular weekly basis, well over 500,000. And that's scary when you have that many people looking at you and they're mad at you and they're making threats. Now, this Leslie, her family got contacted, her parents, siblings, her husband, and even her work. Recently, her boss was contacted in, by a telephone call. And the person's name was left on there, and now it's under investigation. And this person actually did a whole show on it. I don't know. A lot of people have ego. They think they can get away with a lot of things. To you, Leslie, I feel sorry for you. I know that's extremely hard when somebody like that brings the total force down on you and your family. Now, let me tell you what happened to me. Now, I stepped back into a quiet position for the last almost 3 months or somewhere in that. My wife suffered a fall on 4th of July. And at the time, we were assured everything would be okay. She had a break in her pelvis or crack. But the problem is at her age, there's a lot of things that can happen. Blood clots. She had emphysema and COPD. There's a lot of things wrong. She has a very high rate of heartbeat, but a very low blood pressure, very low. It's extreme. When she went in, the blood clots went from a leg and got into her lungs, both lungs. That caused a problem with breathing, and she had to go on oxygen immediately. I wasn't watching out there what was going on out here in the media from YouTube and Facebook and stuff, but I started getting some little inklings. People were sending stuff to me, and some of it was extremely demeaning on my wife. Very. And my wife wasn't made aware of it. I'm just telling you, she was in the hospital. There was times where she wouldn't have known anyway. Okay. Matter of fact, there was a period of time where they put her to sleep, like a coma, to let her body rest. She was fighting to live. She she never gave up. But if I can talk about it, during this time, I was made to feel it was my fault this happened. That I was less of a man, and it was karma. All that stuff. I was attacked. It was a continuous thing. People were helping me out by removing as much stuff as they could from my channel. Uh, I don't actually have Facebook. There's just one I was able to look at once in a while, and I think on a daily basis somehow they were trying to hit. I was accused of being on the internet every day, which was a lie. That anyway, I can't explain it all, but I understood, and I just got to the point. Every day was a fog for me, and my full attention was on my wife, and my full time where I was at was mostly in the hospital. If I wasn't there, I was driving to or from or trying to get home and sleep or take the pets out because I do have a dog and a cat back here. My daughter came and started helping me out, and she was going through the same thing of night and day, back and forth. Sometimes we spent the night at the hospital, depending on what kind of condition my wife was at the time. So it might be 2 or 3 days before we got back here. A neighbor come in and took care of my household. A neighbor came in and took care of my yard for almost 3 months. Uh, and then the day come for my wife passed away. And somebody actually followed her to the obit. And the second comment on the obit was referencing back to hinting at that this whole thing was my fault from YouTube, as if to advertise to all my wife's friends of a problem here on YouTube. And it was continuous things. The Facebook was lighting up from different time, and there'd be a line of people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Do I know what Leslie went through? You damn right I do. Did I deserve it? No. Does Leslie deserve what's going on with her? No. She has to be out of it. The only reason I had backed off actually was my attention was zeroed in on my wife. I wanted her to live. I didn't want her to pass away. These people will use anything they can to harass and make you feel small. And the only thing I can think of is they must feel that way. Because there could be no other reason to attack people that are at the time unable to say or do anything or chase them down. No, nothing. Nothing. Does it make sense to you out there? All of you out there that are having a good life, it could happen to you. You could say the wrong thing on this little YouTube deal, and it'll run you down. Now, you can go to YouTube and you can make complaints, but wait, news for you. These people have an influence within the YouTube structure. They can get away and say things and do things that you can't. And I proved it because I sent some things in to see why. And it goes so far and stops. If you don't get past the bots, you're not going to get anywhere. The only one that I've seen that was able to do anything was Richard Lutherman because of his education, legal education. He was able to find the things that would stop him in the state of Florida because Florida said, I'm going to protect people that are on the internet, that are in these things, these chats and stuff. And there is a law there that you have to be treated equal. So if you're in Florida, you stand a good chance of being able to get back on YouTube if you're taken off or whatever. Not every state is going to protect you like Florida does. There was a notation in there, and I seen on there. It says, "How do you stop this?" And the only thing that I know of that can stop it is another judge, judgment against what's going on. I don't know if it'll happen with this particular one, only because he's already stepped in the crap and it smells on him a little bit. I don't think it was completely his fault. I think probably his clerk should have warned him ahead of time. Now, I don't know how things got out to JH before it hit the people that were involved in the case. I don't know how it did, why it ended up on the internet first. I only know it did. I also know what he said, how it got out. And he warned people ahead of time, this is what's going on. And this is what's coming out. He knew it. Somebody gave it to him. Somebody had to be very close to the judge. Now, what is sitting on? Well, Bruce Maskin sent in his explanation why he didn't show up. And it went over this entire case. And it showed some of the criminal activities that went on against him personally, and also of the things that were said to him uh, during a depot. And there should have been sanctions immediately. Instead, both lawyers were brought in for sanctions because of that depot, not the one that caused it. Bruce was trying to protect himself, and and they wouldn't even allow the video that was done. All they went by is what the clerk had printed out. You don't get to see the people, the reactions of the people when it was going on. Now, do you think that's fair law? You should use everything available so that you can get to the bottom of it. It was not done. Why? I don't know. I didn't see an explanation. And quite frankly, unless you go and sue the administration for that, you'll never find out. You'll never, it's not going to hit the light of day. Why is it covered up? I don't know. That's another question. Why has this been allowed against Leslie when she tried to completely get away from this, wipe it out? I'm going home. I'm done playing. I don't want to play no more. And they followed her home, to her house, to her family, and to her job site. And it's loud. And it's on YouTube. It's on here. YouTube is strictly against that kind of stuff. And yet it's here. It's on here. This group is getting away with something you and I can't. Why? I don't know where the connection is. You tell me. If you know, put in my comments down there. For you, Leslie, I commend you on your bravery for coming on here. You explained what happened to you. Lord help you. And you've got my blessings and prayers, gal. And for Lisa, you were extremely brave for bringing that to the light of day. These type of people do not like when people prove what they're talking about. And you just got through proving something. You brought on a witness that was happened to them, period. And it brought light back to how I feel about what happened to me in the last 3 months. And the people out there that were doing everything they could to follow my channel to protect me from it. They know what I was going through, but I'm waking up little by little. And if they don't think I'm going to fight it, they'll be wrong. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And when I'm talking about legal, nothing underhanded. If I have something to say about it, I'm going to say it right on here. And more than likely, I'm going to say it with a lawyer. I'm sick and tired of this rhetoric and acting like a fool and acting like they're 12 years old or less. It's like uh, school ground full of kids. They're catcalling each other. They found somebody to pick on, and they always look at the weakest to pick on the most. I hope they're proud of themselves. You know, another one that's fighting back is Super Dave, and they go after him. They do everything they can to make him go home and hide for a month or two, and then when he comes back, man, does he come back? And he's about as intelligent as you get when he comes back with what he's doing, and he's doing that. He's not a lawyer, but he's coming up from this stuff, and I put a couple of programs on my computer so that I can come up with some of the things that Dave has, and I can scrutinize what's been going on, you know, in a court case if I really want to. It's not free; you got to pay for it, but it's cheaper than a lawyer. It's AI system, and it works pretty good. You can type a letter out and have it correct everything for you. You can type it out as if you're submitting it to a judge, and it'll do that for you. So what I'm telling you is there are a lot of ways to tackle this problem. The best one I think is with somebody that's established. That's my what my logic tells me. Somebody that has been through the same thing, if you can. But there's very few that are brave enough to stand up, especially in this situation. Out of all the lawyers that are out there, and everybody's, oh, yeah, that one wasn't any good. They left. They're gone. That one passed away. This one's hiding. This one's in the bushes. Nobody wants their family to go through what Leslie's going through, what I've had to go through, what Bruce has had to go through, and certainly not what Lisa is going through. Her and Gabe, goodness sake. And look at the things that Robbie had to go through. They're attacking her place of work, threatening her bosses. Oh, Lord. Went after his kids. Not a laughing matter. And when I look like it, like I'm laughing at it, it's the condition that allows it. It don't make sense to me. Well, for all you that got this far, and it's over 30 minutes, and I try not to go this long, but going over this stuff and letting you know the trail, you could call it the trail of tears if you want. Having gone through what some of these other people have done and coming out the other side agitates the crap out of me. And I know they think because I'm in my 80s that I've lost part of my intelligence. Well, I got news for you. I've had to prove how I am mentally. Okay. And I've had no problem. I, I, I have an extreme sensibility. I can pass about any test out there. So I'm not worried about when somebody thinks I'm feeble minded. I don't even have the beginnings of senility. You guys, there's a lot of people out there that have mental issues. They're not being treated for it, obviously, but they go after those that are being treated. And that part is not a laughing matter. And for those, I pray for all of you that have been attacked because you have some frailty of some kind. Welcome to the group. All of us are going to have something that's attackable. We all do. It might be somebody that we think so much of, you know, that our heart pumps for, like my wife. We've been together since we were kids, so long ago, and it was like it was yesterday. I remember the first time I saw her. I remember the first date we went on. I spent every Christmas with her except for one. In the military, it happened. Well, yeah, just no two. There was two Christmases I couldn't spend with her. No, no, one. I'm sorry. We spent every anniversary together until she passed away this past September 3rd. That she meant more to me than anything in this world. And I've been under more attack in that few months than I ever have in my whole life due to these people that do not want to leave a person alone. They, like I say, they pick on you in the weakest moment you have. But I'm recovering. I'm back on my feet and I'm back in the fight. I give you all my opinion out there, and I give you true things of what happened to me. Don't let it happen to you. What I would ask, when you see something like this coming, don't be afraid to stand up for your rights. Don't be afraid. And for all of you that are involved, like I am right now in this particular case, it's time to stand together, not run like a little child. You know, that time that he threatened all of us out here, that he was going to come knocking on our door and we were going to run like little babies across our yard. That's a real threat. Do you think he meant it? Do you think he meant it when he said, I'm going to put investigators out there? When he come up with information like he did on Bruce, Robbie, when he come up with the stuff on Robbie, how about Dave? He had no problem showing my house and the location from the post office. None. That's doxing. My house, my street, my address. Scary stuff. My wife was out here mowing. This is before her accident. I've been here 22 years. A car came out and stopped in three different places. This is a dead end. This is a private street. Okay. There are four of us that live here. There are four homes on this particular street. The street is 2 blocks long. I own a little over half a block here of those 2 blocks. I didn't know what happened until my wife came in and told me about this person that kept watching her out there while she was mowing the lawn. Of course, they were gone by the time she told me. She wasn't that worried. I had warned her about it ahead of time in case somebody stopped to come in and get me. I explained how dangerous it could be. That's just one incident. There was two other incidents after that, and one of my neighbors warned me about it. That's just to let you know that never happened before this property was shown. My address was given out. With that, I'm going to let you go. I hope you were able to get to the end. If you were, let me know about it. Let me know you're really interested in what happened to me and how it happened and the truth out there. What I'd like you to do is Lisa put this show up last night. Now, I didn't get to watch it, but I came in this morning and watched it in its entirety from beginning to end today. And I felt it needed to be looked at by you. I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth. And I'm not calling Leslie a horse by any chance. If she is, she's a racehorse. So she, she's royalty, okay? She's brave. She came on there and told you what happened, even after she was attacked so hard before. And she came back on so that you could understand what she went through and why she tried to stop it and how she was stopping it. Everybody's belief is it's going to have to end in court. Only the law is going to be able to stop it. She proved you can't walk away from it. There's other people who tried to walk away from it and couldn't. The hound chased him down and bit him. Now, my wife isn't here. She can't fight back. I don't know if they'll still put shit out there on the internet about her or not. But it won't do her any good. I mean, it won't do them any good. My wife's not here to fight it. Are they still attacking me? Damn right they are. Foolish people. With that, like I say, I give you my opinion out there. What happened to me is real. Leslie did it last night, and I commend her 100%. You really you stood up, and I'm glad you did. Not many are brave enough to give the real word out there. Not many, but you have. May the Lord be with you, and you've got all my prayers coming and my best wishes, Leslie. Thank you for getting on there and giving your side of the story. And Lisa, thank you so much for being brave enough to bring it out there and allow her a platform to tell her side of it. And with that, well, I'll talk to you later. I've said it all I'm going to do today. I give you my opinion. I hope it's good enough for you. Let me know if you got to the end.